Let's start off with our, seems like daily, Don't Trust the Experts segment. First, we'll start with the meme of the day. My parents at 29, the wife says, let's have a baby. Me at 29, I hope the government will let me go to Chili's today. CNN had a story the other day. I think we got a picture of it. Do we have a picture of the story? I thought this family was two moms. But then I watched it, and that's the dad at the end of the table. It's hard to tell these days, but you got two kids. The girl's 12, the boy's, 8? And they're playing a board game. They're wearing masks in their home. And they're all vaccinated. The 12-year-old girl's vaccinated. They're all vaccinated except for the little brother because he's too young. And they're all terrified of infecting this kid. And he's terrified of dying. And I thought, oh, well, maybe he has cancer or something. Maybe some chemo patient. No. He's a healthy 8-year-old boy. At least physically healthy. His parents are abusing him. That is abuse. That is child abuse, just in a socially acceptable way. Imagine the depravity of government officials who are like, whatever you do, don't kiss your children. Don't kiss them. Don't be near them. Don't breathe on them. The Aussie health officials, do we still have this picture, guys, of the caption where it says, keep distance away from your kids? Parents need to keep distance from their children. That's what the news stickers. Parents need to keep distance from their children. There was another Australian health official who said, hey, listen, when you go to the grocery store, you have this natural human urge to be friendly. Don't be. When you see your neighbor or your best friend in the grocery store, don't talk to him. Fight back that urge to be friendly. New York City has a whole subway campaign telling you not to talk to anyone. Put your head, there it is. There's good, better, best. And the best is, so the good is you're wearing masks, but you're looking at each other, you're talking to each other. The best is masks in your phone. Because I feel like, especially with kids, we had this whole limit screen time thing. And we've had this whole movement like, geez, maybe we shouldn't be in our phones all the time, non-stop. And here's the New York City subway ads being like, hey, best thing to do, just keep it here. Don't talk to anybody, don't look at anybody, don't breathe in anybody's general direction. This is not healthy. Now we're masking in our homes, masking around your kids. Here's what I get from this. Here's the story. It will never end. It will never end. They'll never end it, I should say. You can, they won't. This is the important scientific fact of the day. We have one scientific fact of the day. This is the one. Study out of England. 80%, 79 point, what does that say? 79.8 or whatever to be specific. But 80% of 16 to 24-year-olds have antibodies. This is the percentage of people of different age groups who have antibodies. That is either from vaccine or from having had COVID. And that's all that matters. The vaccine just helps you make antibodies. So if you have antibodies naturally, you have the vaccine, whatever. So this is from July 18th. So we're, almost a month later. And even 16 to 17-year-olds, these are 16 to 17-year-olds in England, they don't have the vaccine for anyone under 18. So these are unvaccinated 16, 17-year-olds. Still 60% of them have immunity naturally, 60%. And as you saw from that chart, every other age group is 95% or above. This is herd immunity. Notice how that's gone. You never hear anyone talk about herd immunity anymore. It's like it doesn't even exist. Of course it does. We got herd immunity. This is it. This is the end of it. And if they haven't ended it, then there is no end. It will never stop. Herd immunity is the number of people who need to have antibodies for a virus to stop spreading. And if you remember, for the last year and a half, we didn't know. No one knew. So scientists would say, remember we had Vincent Racaniello, professor from virology, who was on every week. And he'd be like, we just don't know the herd immunity. It could be 60%, could be as high as 80% before you get herd immunity, somewhere in between. We just don't know. No one for the last year and a half said, herd immunity, it's 96%. No, it was like 80% max is herd immunity. And we're at, as they saw from that England study, we're at 95%. Like we're way past the upper bounds of what anyone thought it would ever need to be. So enough already. This is a professor at UC San Francisco School of Medicine. He says, when the history books are written, about the use of non-pharmaceutical measures or pharmacological measures, that's like masking, during this pandemic, we will look as prehistoric and barbaric and tribal as our ancestors during the plagues of the Middle Ages. What the books won't capture is how, in this moment, our experts were simply so sure of themselves. Do you know what he's referring to? The plague doctors of the medieval times? Have you ever seen the masks that the plague doctors wore back in the day, 1400s, 1600s? That's what they wore. They wore these masks with this long beak on the end. Why? To scare the bejeebus out of whoever they were treating. Back then they didn't have germ theory. So they thought that the plague spread through poisoned air. They thought it was there, look at that thing. Anyway, they thought the plague spread through poisoned air. So they would fill these beaks with perfumes and herbs and honey and other nice smelling things to try and disinfect the air. They would put 55 different herbs in their mask. And they'd put it in this long beak, and then they had the nostrils at the end of the beak, and they thought that this would give enough, the air would come in the end and it would like flow through the smelly things, and that would give the air enough time to disinfect and be healthy. And they looked ridiculous. And so do we. We haven't evolved a lick. We haven't evolved a lick from the Middle Ages. Oh, no, science has improved. Oh, no doubt, science has improved. Science has gotten better. People haven't. And I love this point from this gentleman on Twitter. He said, tribalism always emerges when institutional trust erodes. People might not be certain which side is telling them the truth, but they can certainly tell which side is actively wishing them harm. Societies will be governed either by tribes or institutions. The institutions take generations to build and no time at all to burn down. These people destroyed the credibility of institutions with which they've been entrusted, and now they threaten us with force if we balk at their demands. It's a brilliant point. Luigi Warren, have you ever heard the name Luigi Warren? Maybe the first time you ever heard his name, Luigi Warren. You would remember that name if you've ever heard the name Luigi. When's the last time you heard the name Luigi, right? So you would remember that name if you heard it. He's one of the inventors of mRNA vaccines, right? He's like one of the pioneers of the technology of mRNA vaccines. He worked with the founder of Moderna. There he is. He worked with the founder of Moderna back in the day. Well, he's been kicked off Twitter. He's said stuff about vaccines that the media doesn't like. He's not following the script. So he's been put in Twitter jail. He's been canceled, silenced. No one ever asks his opinion about anything because he's not following the perfect, precise party line. That's the guy who invented mRNA vaccines. You'd think he'd be a person worth listening to or worth asking a question, right? But no, it's not him. It's all Fauci all the time. But trust the experts. Just not all the experts. Not the experts that the experts say you shouldn't trust. Just them. Just trust the people who they say you should trust, which is them. Just them.
Wow. That was deep and insightful. I want more of that.
Like, subscribe, get more.